Welcome to Denali Events. This brand new public outreach platform is hosted by Denali National Park and Preserve. My name is Kimber Burrrows, and I'm Program Director at Denali Visitor Center, one of several wonderful park partner organizations. I'm thrilled to be a part of this 15-minute presentation coming to you live from the beautiful Muir Science and Learning Center located here on Denali Park Visitor Campus. For those of you joining us virtually, we welcome you to take part in this conversation by submitting questions via the comment thread on the park's Facebook page or by using the live stream chat box. A live caption for this event is also available via the park website. Please look for us at www.nps.gov/DENA. I'm going to attempt to keep my introduction of today's guest brief to allow us some time for possible questions. With that said, however, some introduction is certainly in order. So Kim Heacox has spent several years working for the Park Service as a park seasonal ranger at Denali, Glacier Bay, Katmai National Parks. Mr. Heacox is an accomplished photographer, activist, and author of more than 10 books, including the text for our current Denali Park map, which has circulated more than 300,000 copies since 2012. Mr. Heacox has been described as one of America's finest outdoor writers, and I believe his latest book, John Muir and the Ice That Started a Fire, How a Visionary and the Glaciers of Alaska Changed America, is the perfect kickoff for our Wilderness Act celebration. So without further delay, one of the first questions I'd like to ask you, Mr. Heacox, is what does wilderness mean to you?
What does wilderness mean to me? Magic, mystery, wisdom, hope, wonderful opportunities, the chance to provide answers to questions we've not even learned yet to ask. And it's a respite, a break, maybe from the tyranny of our industrialization, to go out and renew ourselves and find the ancient earth, the ancient texts, the way things used to be. And it's the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It is the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, nature.
Yeah.
Wild nature.
What do you feel is the relevance of protected wilderness in a place like Alaska? We get that question a lot, especially Alaska. It's so big. It's so wild already.
Right.
So much space.
I think Alaska offers us a whole second chance, right, to do things a little differently than we've done the first time around. It's really hard to recreate wilderness. I don't think you can. I don't know if you can entirely. But to have an original text of anything, rather than go back and put the fragments together. Although Leopold, one of the founders of the Wilderness Society, founded about 30 years before the passage of the Wilderness Act, said one of the rules of intelligent tinkering is to save all the pieces. And in wilderness, and in Alaska, we have wilderness on such a vast scale that we have complete ecosystems. So we begin to develop ecosystem thinking, systems thinking, and how the natural world really operates and survives. I don't even want to use the word operate. It's too clinical. How it works. And that word itself isn't appropriate either. But how the natural world goes about doing all the magnificent things that it does on a grand ecosystem scale. This, to me, is like an Alexandria library, and it only gets more valuable the more time that goes by and the more acreage all around the world that's eaten up by the modern human machine.
Yeah.
Right. It's a library. And in Alaska, we have complete books, complete volumes, complete sub-libraries. We have 50% of the acreage in the U.S. National Park System, more than 50%. So Alaska is what America was.
The last frontier.
The Last Frontier. Yeah, that's what they call it on the license plates. I tend to think that the last frontier is not Alaska. It's not the bottom of the ocean. It's not outer space. I think it's open-mindedness and open-heartedness. Nice. And that wilderness can help develop that, encourage that.
Great.
Go out and reset our clocks. I saw an amazing picture very recently of a matador in Spain, and the bull's almost dead. He only has to plunge the sword in one more time, and he sits down and he stops. And I thought, wow, if any of us, just one time in our life, can have a profound change of heart and allow ourselves to see something anew, well, where to go to achieve that? Try the wilderness.
Great. You're such an accomplished author and photographer. I've seen some of your work, and it's just spectacular. What inspires you? What keeps you going?
Well, the wilderness inspires me. The fact that we have it, that people came before me and they saved it, that we've left the apple unpicked. We haven't picked every apple off the tree. I mean, it's almost biblical in a way. That inspires me. That there is this within the human condition. There are all these fragments of light, like we're a prism, and the white light hits us, and all these beams of separate light of the rainbow scatter, and we can really see better what we're made of. And I like that about human. We're very complex, and I like to look at both sides of an issue. I like to explore it all and to take a hard look at my own positions, to be a critical thinker. And writing it really turns me on in that regard, much more than photography. Photography's great, it's powerful, it's fun. But writing, there's nothing like writing. Like Dumbledore said to Harry Potter, I believe our most inexhaustible source of magic in this world is words, language. So I write. To unfold the folded lie, to find out what's going on. I don't know if I believe that. Let me explore that in my own writing. Break down my own arguments. Turn them over.
Question.
Question it. Exactly.
Great,
so, I don't just write about the natural world. The John Muir book that I just completed takes a hard look at a lot of things. It takes a hard look at civilization, society, culture. Why do we believe what we believe? When do you have those epiphanies, or whatever they might be, that make you wake up one day and not kill the bull? For sport, anyway. To feed yourself, sure. But, So I think writing is critically important. And I think it's important to be a critic of my own culture and society and nation and the human condition in general, and then to praise it and sing its song when I can, right? And I'm not interested in the Facebook like culture. If everybody likes what I'm writing, I'm not saying anything. But I don't want to be a provocateur just for the sake of it either. I want to be respectful.
Great. Speaking of your new book, what is it about John Muir that really captures you and inspires you and then provoked you to write an entire book?
Well, John Muir, there was nobody else like him at the time. He was all by himself, pretty much. There were others that were there with him, but they weren't as lyrical as he was as far as writing goes. They weren't as passionate as he was. They couldn't take the heat. They wouldn't stand up and take the heat. He was writing for the light, and when you go toward the light, with light comes heat. And he was willing to do that. And he changed America, and he changed the world. He was influenced by Wordsworth, Wordsworth and Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau, of course. But then he turned around, and he influenced Teddy Roosevelt, all the founders of the Wilderness Society, Olaus Muir, Aldo Leopold, Robert Marshall, Benton McKay. And then those people influenced FDR. He influenced Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt influenced Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter signed the Lands Act to create 100 million new acres of wild lands in Alaska.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Muir was critical. There was nobody else like him.
Mm-hmm.
And he came along at the perfect time.
Yeah. Well, perfect that we're in, the Muir Science and Learning Center then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Olaus Muir
Yeah.
was the older
Yeah.
brother of Adolf Muir.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And,
Perfect.
and Adolf Muir, when the Wilderness Society was founded in 1935, Ad Muir would have been 36 years old, about to come to Mount McKinley National Park,
Mm-hmm.
now Denali National Park and Preserve, and do his most important work. He had to be hugely influenced by his older brother and his colleagues,
Mm-hmm.
who were all influenced by John Muir.
Mm-hmm.
And Muir was a crazy man. He'd climb mountains and climb trees in storms.
Mhm.
He's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
He loved glaciers. He came to Alaska for glaciers, not gold.
He had fun.
He did.
Yeah.
He loved trees, not timber.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I know our time is so brief together today, so I want to have one more question answered before we wrap it up, and I know we've only got a few minutes left.
Okay.
What was the message in the book, The Green Boat, that you find pertinent to today?
Yeah, the message in the Green Boat is that facing climate change, it sometimes feels so daunting and overwhelming. I just want people to think about Nelson Mandela. He said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." And in The Green Boat, a book by Mary Pfeiffer, author of Reviving Ophelia, she says, what we have to move from is from trauma to transcendence, right? And we can do that. We can do that. We can tackle this and become highly innovative and inventive. And we can take it on, and we can make a better world for our children and their children's children's children. But we have to face up to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. In your speaker series, I saw some of your work. You talk about the art of seeing. And I wondered, how does that relate to our experiences? How do you feel like that relates to our experiences in the natural world, that art of seeing?
Well, yeah, the art of seeing, sight is such a dominant sense with us.
Right.
And you can develop it your whole life. To always be asking yourself, when's the last time I really took a close look at something I've never taken a close look at? When's the last time I really laid down on the ground and looked through the blades of grass, got underneath a spider web? And when's the last time when I did that and allowed that to flood into me and then closed my eyes and allow all the other senses to come into play for 3 minutes and then reopen my eyes?
Yeah.
And allow that to be a scribe of your own humanity and talk to yourself about how that was for you, and go home and write a poem to your mother.
Makes you want to go take a tundra nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know we're again running short on time, so thank you for sharing some of that with us, and yeah, it's been a fantastic event, our first Denali events. We're looking forward to many more throughout the summer, so for those of you viewing, information regarding upcoming events will always be posted on the park website, on the events calendar, as well as on the live stream site, of course, Facebook and Twitter. If you miss an event, not to worry. They're all archived recordings, and they'll be available on the live stream as well as the park website. So when in doubt, go to the park website, search for events. They'll all be there so that you can partake in and follow up on these great conversations that we're having throughout the summer. Again, I want to thank you, the viewers, for attending today. I want to thank Mr. Heacox for joining us, Kim Heacox. And I thought maybe it would be a good idea to end with a quote of yours, actually. I pulled this from one of your writings. So just something for us to think about as we go forward. And so Kim Heacox wrote, "Perhaps then, wilderness will become something as humane as it is natural, as much within us as it is around us." So again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope to see you at the next Denali events.